Hey, welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. And in this video, we're going to talk about Viking training task 4 Bravo. It's going to be a walk and talk. But before we go, it looks like it might be threatening rain, so I'm going to close this up. And I thought I would include you in it. You can see the building that everybody knew on YouTube was going to fall down imminently. And, you know, blah, blah, blah. So that's it. Still standing. And it was full of, what is this stuff called? I wrote it on here so I can order it again. It's not laps, shiplap. Boston siding yellow pine. Looks like this. 16 feet long. And it was full of that. But it's been coming out of here. Wow, look at me. I'm whited out. And going up on the house. And it's almost empty. So that's that, but I want to close this up before we go. Now the sun's coming out. Who knows? The weather did say that it was supposed to rain around this time today, and weatherman's never right around here. But just be safe, not sorry. All right. The rest of this is scraps, and I'm going to end up hitting them with a hatchet and turn it into bone dry kindling. All right, Viking training task 4. 4 Alpha, it's all about the bob. 4 Alpha was taking your bob for an hour walk. What was it? Viking training task 3 was dump your bob and go through it, get it ready. And then for 4 Alpha, I wanted you guys, let you see what I'm seeing. Or in fact, maybe I can just do it that way. I wanted you to take it out for a shakedown hike. So you can figure out what feels good and what doesn't. Remembering always that the primary purpose of a bob, what are you doing, Billy? You stuck? It's going to be a walk and talk. We're going to do other things. See, he's stuck a little bit. Say hello to the people. There we go. The primary purpose of your bob is to allow you to put it on and keep going to get away from where you are and to a place of safety. And it is to facilitate the journey. Come on. Come on. Look at the little cuties. It's to facilitate the journey. That's all it's for. It's not to build a log cabin, set up a new life, barter, unless that facilitates the journey. So, most people pack too heavy. And what I was gonna do for Viking training task 4 Bravo was have you take it for a 4-hour walk. Because remember, the purpose of the bob is to get somewhere, right? It's not just to go a block away, it's to get far. But I'm changing it. If you want to do that, awesome. And I encourage you, this is not part of the task, this is me talking to you. You should get very familiar with your bug out bag. It should feel comfortable on you. When I was training for Special Forces, like I wasn't in yet, I was still in the infantry. I was talking to a Special Forces recruiter, and he told me, go get real comfortable with the big green tick on your back. That's the big Alice Large. And so I did, and he was absolutely right. And at that time, what was I, late 20s? I could carry amazingly heavy loads anywhere over vast distances. And when I say I can, that's because I did regularly. But it was all training. And it's what you want to put time and effort into. And it was also In Special Forces, a 40-year-old is old, right? Most of the guys are around 30, somewhere in there. So, understand, even though I'm not saying Viking Training Task 4 is to carry your bob for 4 hours, carrying your bob for 4 hours should be nothing. Because again, I just have to keep driving this point home because I don't think people get it. The purpose of your bob is to go from here to there. There, way out there, far away. And if your bob is too heavy to do that, then your bob is too heavy. The distance, the journey is still there in front of you. Does that make sense? The destination is not going to change because your ankle hurts, or you have no leg, or you've got one lung, or you're sick, or it's raining. Where you got to go is still there. You got to get there. If your bob is too heavy, you need to make it lighter. If you can't walk there, you better figure something else out. Or you're saying, nope, I guess I'm just going to have to die here. Maybe it's time for you to buy a motorcycle, dual sport motorcycle. I don't know, but you've got to solve your problem. For the vast majority of you, solving the problem simply means getting in better shape and lowering the weight of your bob. For the vast majority of you who have what you think are the perfect reason why that won't work for you, the vast majority of you, that's bunk. You can still do it. One thing I learned in Special Forces is, one, a person, you, can push yourself a lot further than you think you can. A lot harder than you think you can. When you think you can't go on, you can. And that's when it comes down to not how your muscles feel, not the aches here, there, wherever. It comes down to heart. It comes down to willpower. You gonna do this thing or not? You gonna quit or not? Having said that, I just read somebody's comment, and I read all the comments. And so I read so many that I hope this doesn't offend you. I don't pay a lot of attention who wrote what comment unless it's egregious and I have to write them and say cut it out. Because I ain't got time for that. Plus, I don't really know you anyway. I think I know who said this, but I don't want to say it in case I'm wrong. It doesn't really matter. One of y'all had no business doing Viking Training Task 4 Alpha. I know I just said you can push your body further than you think you can. But here's the deal. There's a time to push, and there's a time to heal. Let yourself heal. Don't do more damage unnecessarily unless it's the final test. If it's the final test, leave it all out there on the track, baby. Don't have nothing left. I used to get on my daughter when she ran cross country. Which, God bless her. She did it on her own and wanted to do it. And it was really hard for her. And she didn't do very well at it. She was coming in last, or, not last. Because I used to tell her, don't be late and don't be last. I told all my kids that, raising them. It was one of the things I said. But she would usually be in the bottom 3, right? But what she would do is, man, the last half mile, and I think they ran 2.5 miles, the girls. The last half mile, she'd just kick it. She'd be way behind the second to last person. And in the last half mile, she'd end up passing 2 people, 3 people. I told her, sweetie, you had way too much energy at the end. Leave it all on the track. Push harder in the middle. Whatever. Whenever I give a task that's physical, you need to check with your doctor. Do not hurt yourself for Viking preparedness. Be smart about things. when I was training for ultra marathons, you have to run beyond the point of comfort in training. And what you have to learn, and you have to learn this too, all y'all, what you have to learn is what's the difference between extreme discomfort and actual pain. Pain is typically an indicator of injury. You don't want to make an injury worse unless it's the test. And so when you're training for a 100-mile run, you don't want to run on a twisted ankle. But if you're in the 100-mile run and you twisted your ankle and you're towards the end, I'm thinking you keep going, right? Come on, man. So, same thing with your bob. So, backing up, you need to be very comfortable carrying your bob. And if your bob is too heavy, you need to work harder and take more out of it. Now, I was just talking to somebody the other day, and I know who I'm talking about, but I don't know. I don't want to walk through this grass. I'm wearing shorts, so I don't have that much bug spray on, and chiggers are out. Come on, dogs, said the wimpy former Green Beret. Hey, it's true. He just lost, what do you say, 30-something pounds in the last couple months. And he goes, man, it's like taking off a rucksack. And you're absolutely right. I mean, here I am walking with nothing. I have a cell phone on a selfie stick. And if I lost 30 pounds, I'd be too skinny. But if I lost 30 pounds, it would be like dropping most of y'all's bob. Now I'm walking without a bob. How much easier is that? And so you, because most of you are Americans and most Americans are overweight, so most of you need to lose weight. Your body is carrying X amount of pounds when it walks. That's a combination of your body and what you put in your rucksack. Take it off your body, put more in your ruck. Or what you have in your ruck will feel lighter. So, don't allow yourself to make excuses for the weight of your bob. Fix it. Fix you, fix your bob. Biking training task for Bravo. I want you to take your bob and sleep with just the contents in your bob overnight. I would like you to eat 2 meals. If your bob is set up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, supper and breakfast, right? Why? I want you to make sure that you have everything in your bob you need to have. I want you to survive. Now, ideally, you would take your bob and you would go into something like this and you would hike for 4 hours, set up camp, congratulate yourself on a little hike, make dinner, set up what you're going to sleep in, go to sleep, sleep like a baby, get up in the morning, make breakfast, and hike out. That's ideally. But your task is simply to sleep overnight with only what you have in your bob and to make 2 meals out of your bob. Now, if your bob is just peanut butter and honey for food, okay. Let's say you go on a Friday after work and you're planning on coming back. You're gonna spend the night, and then Saturday you'll call it, you'll be done. Don't eat anything after lunch on Friday. Eat the peanut butter and honey that night and the next morning. See how that works for you. I want you to test your stuff. If you go somewhere like a national park or a state park, or even a campground, you can take extra stuff. Take more water, take more food, take more fire starters, take a warmer sleeping bag, da-dun, 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 in your vehicle with the plan of not using it. But if you have to use it, now you know. I need this in my bob. Use it. I don't want you to be miserable. But now you know, all right, I need this thing. My bob's already kind of heavy. If I put this thing in there, what am I taking out? Some of you are like, I can't get the time off to go do that. For the vast majority of you, that's a lie that you tell yourself and others. All I want you to do is sleep overnight. You gotta sleep somewhere, right? If you have time after work to drive to the grocery store, pick up a frozen pizza, drive home, watch Pastor Joe on YouTube, watch some TV, sleep in your bed, get up in the next morning and go to work, you could do that with your bob. Take a shower before you go back to work. You can sleep in your backyard. It's harder because you'll want to cheat. You'll be like, well, I don't want to poop in my backyard and I gotta go, so I'll just go in and go to the bathroom in my house. And then you've just missed out on a huge learning point on how are you gonna exist in this, walking that way for the next 3 days when you don't have a flush toilet. Don't cheat yourself. Make the most of the exercise. And so, if all you can do is go in your backyard and set up camp, okay. But the reason I wanted to make you walk 4 hours, and I'm not, because a lot of y'all can't yet. The reason I wanted to make you walk 4 hours is you have to be able to actually carry the stuff that you're using to set up camp. Does that make sense? Having this 90-pound pack that you go poof outside of your car and then set up this beautiful camp, folding chairs, coolers, little shish kebab skewers, you know. Yeah, it's fun, man. It's worthless. You're not carrying that from here to Tulsa. On the other hand, if you think, I'm not saying you're wrong, if you think all I need, I use my example, my running shoes and my rain parka, that's all I need. Okay, go sleep in your backyard with just your running shoes and your rain parka. Better yet, go run for 4 hours or walk, sleep in the woods, and come back out. How'd that work for you? What I'm forcing you to do, and I'm not forcing you, right? It's voluntary on your part. What I'm forcing you to do is get real. Get real on the amount of weight you're carrying and get real on the gear you are taking or not taking. Does that make sense? Test your gear. Ideally, once a week, you would take your bob for a walk. Thursdays, I'm gonna go walk for an hour with my bob every Thursday. Every now and then I'm gonna go on a hike, an overnight hike with my bob. Get comfortable with it. Hear me breathing? What do I need to do more of? Your bob is for a reason. I want you to make sure that it's going to work for you. When your life and the life of those you care about, lives, depends on it. It's got to work. The only way you're going to know if your bob works is to test it. So, biking training task 4B, Spend the night with just the contents of your bob. Eat 2 meals. Report. What'd you learn? If you learned something pretty significant, you need to make adjustments. And then you need to go test it again. And again and again and again. All right. Take a couple weeks. I know you can't just grab it and go sleep tonight. But I bet you can next weekend if you really want to. All right. I'll see you out there.